Dr. Ivan Vasenko from the School of Science at Westlake University. So a little bit background about Dr. Vasenko is that he received his PhD from Petersburg State University, Russia in 1979. And then he awarded the prize of Petersburg Math Society in 1992. And then he was working for Petersburg State University until 1995, and then to the University of Nottingham, UK. And then finally, he joined Westlake University from November 2023 as the professor of mathematics at Westlake University. So he has extensive research, and also he has co-organized more than 40 international conferences, workshops, and symposia. So please welcome Dr. Vasenko from the School of Science at Westlake University to give his presentation for today.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I will give a short presentation for potential candidates to come as PhD students to the School of Science of Westlake University. So remember that Westlake University is very young, and it's the first private university in China with ambition to grow into Chinese analog of Harvard and Princeton. But currently, it's still very young. So its future will be determined by existing senior people, but also by young researchers, in particular, some of you who decide to come as PhD students. So let's have a look. So it's one of 4 schools, Westlake University. And so it includes, as most universities, chemistry, physics, mathematics. So English is the language which can be used at any seminar or conference if there are non-Chinese participants. So it's the only university in China which provides English language courses starting from undergraduate levels and PhD level, and then all research activities. The university currently is not really very large. It's smaller than such titans in Beijing as Peking University and Tsinghua University. But to be small sometimes is very advantageous because you see people from other schools, departments, and you communicate with them, for example, during lunch. And then you can easily develop some interdisciplinary research and have a broader overview and understanding of modern science. So departments and schools in the School of Science, very international, maybe among the most international departments in China. So in particular, mathematics includes 16 research groups, chemistry 26 research groups, physics 16 research groups. And I understand this number 16, 26 will, in a couple of years, they can become 40. There is intensive growth in the number of high-quality international researchers coming to Westlake University. Now, the number of PhD students in 2023 were 253, of which 63 were new PhD students. The number of professors or principal investigators in the School of Science is 53. And then there are, of course, postdocs and researchers, and teaching, research, administrative staff. This is the list of other universities which supplied current members of staff for Westlake University. I don't see in this list, no, I see Princeton University. So, for example, head of one of sections of School of Science, Professor Gang Tian, worked for 20 years in Princeton University. And yeah, so Columbia University, Cornell University, Brandeis University, and the University of Chicago, and so on. And in fact, some of my former PhD students work in some of the universities shown on this slide as full professors. So in chemistry, we have many different directions. I am not a chemistry person, so I cannot talk too much about chemistry, but chemistry is very strong at Westlake University. And you can see so many leading professors. So depending on your specific interest, you can choose the direction you would like. All this information is available from the web pages of the university. So this is still chemistry, already the 3rd slide. And then in physics, we also have very outstanding researchers who come from China, but also from Greece, from the UK, and also, for example, from Russia. Now, in mathematics, we have highly international group of people from China, USA, UK, France, Belgium, Italy, Israel, Germany. And so this is the list of some of their names. So if you just look at where they were previously full professors, you can see such famous universities as Sorbonne University in Paris, or University of Nottingham in the UK, or Max Planck Institute in Bonn, and Göttingen University, Stony Brook, and so on. So I emphasize that this list will probably become twice as large in several years. Research facilities are high quality. I can compare with research facilities in several British universities, and I would say research facilities at Westlake University are higher quality. And it's really great to work in a place where essentially there is no restriction on funding to buy equipment and to support research activities. And so there are also various laboratories like energy and carbon neutrality, which is very important these days, and artificial photosynthesis. And so this is Institute for Theoretical Sciences. I already mentioned its director, Professor Gang Tian. So I work in that institute. You're welcome to apply to become a PhD student in that institute. I promise you would not regret. And so this is a very famous physics laboratory, and not only physicists, but also a beautiful cat. And various other labs and research facilities. And PhD students, of course, produce a lot of research publications, some of which published in some of the best journals worldwide. So PhD programs. So year one, like you come, you start to learn various things, you take some courses, then you produce your thesis proposal jointly with your supervisor, of course. And then you have to pass in semester 4 a qualification exam at the end of year 2. So assuming that everything goes well, then you start working, but of course you also work on preliminary topics in your thesis already in the first 2 years. So in year 3 and 4, you work on your thesis, and you have, of course, reviews and help, not only from your supervisor, but from essentially all people in the corresponding department, because departments currently small, you essentially have access to every of its members. It's much easier than in large universities. And then by the end of year 4, you're supposed to defend your thesis, submit and defend your thesis. Excellent PhD students with excellent PhD thesis may be considered to continue as postdoctoral fellows if they wish. The advantage of Westlake University is that probably it has the highest, the best funding for postdoctoral studies among comparable Chinese universities, and definitely a much higher postdoctoral funding than any European university. So to apply, of course, you do it online, and certain documents, and in particular evidence of English language proficiency. And there is a tuition fee which varies on the subject, but one can apply for university grant to cover this tuition fee. Also, one can apply for university grant to cover living costs. So outside of all of this, I just mentioned that the campus is absolutely wonderful. It has a great variety of places to have breakfast, lunches, and dinners. I don't know any other campus, university campus in China or elsewhere, which has such a great variety. And essentially, there are no queues, almost always. So if this aspect for you is important, to have good support from the university in terms of meals every day, then again, consider coming to Westlake University. Now, maybe you can ask several questions, and I will try to answer. But essentially, I'm a mathematician, so maybe I'm more qualified to answer questions in math. In chemistry and physics, you can send emails with your questions.
Hi, Dr. Fesenko. Thank you so much for the presentation today. I just want to check if you can hear me okay before
Yes.
Okay, great. So my first question is, when can PhD students in the School of Science start working in a laboratory? And is it in the first semester? Is it starting from the first semester, or is it later in the program?
So students can start working in laboratories from the very beginning. And of course, from the very beginning, they start choosing their potential supervisors. So of course, you go to several laboratories, talk to several PIs, professors, and then also maybe start trying something. And only after you tried something, maybe in several places, you make decision which direction to pursue. But of course, when you apply, it's already good to include in your application that you had been in contact with some professor. And so preliminary, your directions of work are such and such. But there is great flexibility and everyone understands it. And as I shown on one of the slides, essentially you submit your thesis, preliminary draft of your research area thesis proposal by the end of the second year. So you have a lot of time to try to experiment to see what works for you. Also, some students may choose interdisciplinary directions of work, like one laboratory in mathematics, another laboratory, for example, in artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Something like this. And so this is all very welcome, and all people will be welcoming such interests and support you.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And can you also give me a little bit description on what it is like for students to work at PI laboratories in the School of Science?
So it depends. If it is math or physics laboratory, then most likely after maybe some not long study of theoretical aspects, you're supposed to start to be involved in experiments. And so you won't be alone. You will be in a group of people who conduct such experiments, experimental work. And then depending on the overall result, but also your contribution to the teamwork, then parts of this activities, research work, experimental work can become part of your thesis. As far as math concerned, or for example, computer sciences, artificial intelligence concerned, then of course it's mostly theoretical work. Even though, of course, computer science also needs a huge power of computers, but this is all covered, no problem with that. And so it's mostly theoretical work. So normally, like you come to go to see some professor, and then professor tells you, like, let's discuss this direction, and then gives you maybe several not very long texts to read. And then you read them, you come back and ask questions. Asking questions is absolutely fundamental. The more questions you ask, the faster you grow. And so then you have second meeting, like you ask questions, and then he asks or she asks questions to you. And then interaction develops. And the important part of this interaction is not just purely scientific one, but also human one. So my own experience shows that psychological support and sociological aspects in interaction between supervisor and student are hugely important. And so at Westlake University, I think many professors are very good in such interaction.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Fasenko, for the answers today and also for your presentation.